Welcome to Agribusiness Talk on Voices of the Soil, Africa.
My name is Clemens Taruona. I'm a lecturer at Kibero College. We were talking of maize production. There are many parameters that are considered in maize production that can result in either a good yield or a failure of a good yield. Where we are now, this is a typical example of a very good crop of maize. A very good crop of maize is characterized by the number of lines that you are going to get on the cob, and also the depth of the kernels that you find on the cob. So in simple terms, you are supposed to have a maize cob that has got a very small cob, the core inside, and the major part of the cob must be covered with grain. So in order to achieve that, there are several things that farmers should take into consideration for you to have a maize crop like this one. So this is a typical example of a very good maize. You can see by the size of the stalk. Well, it is the stalk that determines the size or the weight of the grain. So the stalk must be strong, because that's the dry matter that is going to be turned into maize grain. It must also have that cob that is a little bit longer. You can see by this cob that I'm holding here, that it is almost the size of my arm. So that again is going to give you yield as a farmer. So very short cobs, sometimes they don't yield much, but the maize variety is supposed to express its potential. So the potential must come from the agronomic practices that the farmer should put in place to have that good maize. Let me move on to those parameters that I've talked about that are very important in maize production. We're going to start with soil health. Soil is very important, because it is from the soil that the maize crop is going to get the nutrients that it requires. So soil health is very important. Before the farmers establish a maize crop, they are supposed to send their soils for analysis. Soil analysis is very important. Maybe many farmers disregard that, but that's the starting point of a good crop. The soil has to be tested for a variety of nutrients which are inherent in the soil, and also it has to be tested for pH. pH is very critical in soil health. Even if the farmer is going to put a lot of fertilizer, a lot of manure in the field, as long as pH is wrong, the crop is not going to utilize the nutrients. So soil health is very important. So in this field, we applied the general recommendation of lime, just to condition the soil. So it was about 2,000 kgs per hectare. That's the general recommendation for the lime that we used. You can see by the soils that these soils are sandy. So sandy soils in Zimbabwe are characterized by a very low acidity. So you have to condition the soil so that you raise acidity of the soil a little bit, from 5.5 maybe to 6, thereabout. Then you are going to likely have a very good crop of maize. So the other thing that farmers should take into consideration on soil health is the fertility of the soil. After testing, you are going to get results. The results will tell you the inherent fertility of the soil. So it is up to the farmer to now improve the fertility of the maize crop. How do you do that? You are going to use recommendations from soil analysis, where there is that gap between the inherent fertility and the fertility that is required by that type of a crop, in this case the maize. So that balance is supposed to be covered by application of the recommended rates of fertilizer. Then we move on to the other parameter which is very important for farmers to take note of: the time of establishing a crop. Time of establishment is very important. With maize crop, you are supposed to establish your maize before 25 November. That's the recommended period. That's the cut-off period. Before 25 November, then you are guaranteed of a better yield. Anything after 25 November, it is said the farmer is going to lose about 50 kgs of maize per hectare per day. So when you plant your maize late, you are actually doing yourself a disservice. You are just losing yield for nothing. The maize is supposed to be established during that period before 25 November, then the farmer is guaranteed of a better yield. The other parameter which is very important for farmers to take note of is weed management. Weed management is very, very important. Was weeds compete with the maize crop, with any crop in fact. So they compete for moisture that is in the soil, they compete for the nutrients that are in the soil, they also compete for space.
Voices of the